Morning, everybody. My name is Carolyn, and I'm with Midwest Manufacturers, and we'd like to welcome you to one of our educational series webinars. Today, we have presenter Steve Winter from Marsh McLellan, who's going to be talking to us about cyber risk in manufacturing. We wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar, and we will be posting it to our YouTube channel, so you can share it and rewatch it if needed. I will be sending it your way here this week. Also, if you have any questions for Steve, he would like you to just reach out. You do not need to go into the group chat. Just reach out, turn on your microphone, and ask him any questions you have. So with that, I am going to turn it over to you, Steve.
All right, thanks a lot. Can everybody hear me? Is that a yes, no, maybe? Okay. All right, I'm Steve Winter. I'm with Marsh McLellan Insurance Agency. Used to be Dawson Insurance here in Fargo. Been here for 22 years. Focused primarily on commercial insurance with a focus on manufacturing as well. You know, I know a lot about cyber. I know some about cyber. I'm not an expert by any means. We do have our cyber expert team that we do work with big questions. And I see we got a couple guys here that probably could put me to shame with their knowledge of the cyber world as well. Right, John? I'm kidding. So I'll just kind of get into this right away. It's a pretty big, just an overview of the cyber world that we see on a regular basis. Can everyone see just the big screen now? All right. Okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about cyber risk in manufacturing, insurance, plans, and incident response. Just a quick agenda: cyber insurance market summary, cyber coverage overview, claim trends and best practices, incident management claims, and Q&A. And if you have any questions, just take your off mute and go ahead and ask. I'm open to any kind of conversation you want to have. And, you know, again, those two of you from West Central Technology, if you guys want to chime in on something that I screwed up on, let me know. It's not a big deal. So market summary, you know, we'll talk first about just where the market's at today versus a few years ago. You know, cyber really kind of started, from my knowledge, you know, I started this industry in 2003. Wow, going back a long ways. And we started hearing bits and pieces about cyber insurance back then, but no one was really pushing it at all. And then as we got closer, like the 2010, 2015, carriers started doing endorsements on the policies, so to speak, which just gave you some limited coverages. And then COVID hit, you know. So in 2015 to 2018, you know, it was a pretty profitable business. Nobody was really even knew. Sometimes they didn't know they had cyber on their policies. But come COVID, everybody had to start working from home. Claims started picking up quite a bit. Some carriers are having 100% loss ratio. Ransomware was a big driver that was hacking it, and companies just weren't set up to protect themselves. Then so we got through that. In 2021, the IT people like the West Central Technology and people locally here started getting a bigger handle on ransomware, which is basically taking over your system, and we're able to block them out better. Coming up today, you know, the controls that the different carriers are starting to implement and enforce on clients to put into their system, like multi-factor authentication, like, you know, getting into your bank system and things like that, has really stabilized the market, and the rates, we're starting to see them come down actually. But they're actually, you know, this is data going back to 2023. We're actually starting to see indications that it might start, cyber warfare might start increasing again. Again, if you have any questions as we go, let me know. Oh, I forgot. Okay, I meant to remove that one and I didn't. Okay. So the cyber market conditions right now, as I was talking about, if you've seen like in the top left corner from Q2 2024, rates slowly started coming down. And you can see it over on the chart on the right side, top right. You know, back in 2022, rates have come down basically 50% almost. And I mean, I'm dealing with renewals as it is right now. Some carriers are still trying to take increases, and all you have to do is push back a little bit. And I had a renewal that went from an 18% increase to a flat renewal just by saying the marketplace isn't the way it was. So I think you can reduce your rates. Cyber coverage overall, though, this is kind of a big overview of it all. You have first-party coverages and third-party coverages. So I'll just do a big overview here, and then we'll go more detail on what they are. You know, you have event management on the top left. These are like first-party coverages. Event management. This is what happens. This is what things you're supposed to be doing when your system gets hacked. You know, you're gonna have to worry about forensics going in your computer. You have to worry about public relations, things of that nature. Business interruption. What this coverage is going to do is going to help you continue your operations while you're shut down. I've actually dealt with claims that a manufacturer has been shut down for up to 6 weeks. Cost them a lot of money. And this is a guy, and this would have been probably back in 2010 or 11. And they got shut down for 6 weeks, and I'd offered them cyber insurance, and he didn't take it, and it cost him $500,000. So that was an expensive lesson for him. He has it now, obviously. Then you have cyber extortion. That's when, you know, they're having to investigate the ransomware and get into it more. Then data restoration. I'm sure the guys at West Central understand that and how much of a pain that can be. I mean, everyone says, well, I have everything backed up in the cloud. It should be perfect, right? When it comes out of the cloud, from my understanding, it's not always. Maybe it's getting better as time goes on. Any questions on that page? Okay. There's also third-party coverages. Coverages, you have privacy liability. That's, you know, when a hacker gets into your system, steals social security numbers, dates of birth, and things of that nature. And then the policy has to defend and help you go out and monitor social security numbers and things of that nature, send out letters. It gets pretty expensive. Network security is when the policy responds to compromise of the computer system through hackware or malware. Then you have regulatory defense, provides defense costs to pay fines if you're not complying with government mandates. I've never had to deal with that kind of a claim. I don't know how often does that happen. I don't know. And then media liability, allegations of misleading statements or intent, internet publications that are negative. You know, the policy is going to help defend or help bring your name back up to where it should be. We'll get into a little bit more now. So I'll go back like event management expense, triggers discovery, a sample claim, you suffer a data breach, incur costs ranging from IT forensic analysis, legal advice, cost to notify affected parties, credit monitoring, etc. I actually had a guy that works for an IT company here in town, and he recently dealt with a claim where they had to do a bunch of data entry, and they just moved back and they started entering the data, and then the insurance company actually went in and did the forensic testing and found out that they didn't go back to the origin date of the actual compromise. So all the data that they were re-entering was corrupt already. So that's an important feature of the insurance policy, is it helps pay for the forensics to actually dig deep into the cause of what happened. And then business interruption, sample of that malware gets into the computerized factory controllers, causing the line to cease and operating. And that's kind of like what I discussed earlier about a client of mine whose system got shut down. Cyber extortion or ransomware. Employee clicks on a link in an email and boom, system blows up. Our system we have a phishing tab that we have on our system. Like they'll send out malicious emails and test you. And if you click on something you're not supposed to, all of a sudden you get a flash say, you failed. You have to take a 15-minute course now on cybersecurity. But it's also, I've learned a lot on that. So if we get something we think's weird, you push the phishing button and it goes right to them, takes it out of your email box, and then they'll come back and say, yeah, that was malicious, and delete it from your system. So it works pretty nice. And then we talked a little bit about digital data restoration when your system gets hacked into and you have to go back and re-enter all your data. These are all coverages within the policy, by the way. Then you have privacy liability. A sample claim of that would be a breach of your computer network leads to a loss of sensitive customer information, and the customer files suit against you for failure to protect them. And that could be financials or drawings that you're doing especially in the manufacturing world. Security liability. Network security fails to prevent self-propagating malware from being transmitted from your network to a third party. I've never really had to deal with that one too much. Banks, you know, would that be like the CrowdStrike, Summer? Or not really? Probably not. Regulatory actions, we can keep moving on. Regulatory actions, again, that's just HIPAA violations, people breaching your system, finding personal information about other people that you're supposed to keep compliant, and that's where you can get fined, actually. Media liability, sued by competitor because your CEO said disparaging comments on the internet, which, yeah, is a no-no. And then just a few more here. We got system failure during the routine network patches due to IT employee accidentally crashes the system. That would be more like the CrowdStrike, than when they were trying to update the system and they basically shut down. Like, I know in our agency, a lot of people woke up to the blue screen. And that took a while. Now, that had to have been expensive for CrowdStrike. I don't know what cost on that, but that had to have been expensive. Contingent business interruption, that's if you have a supplier that's supplying you with goods and their system gets hacked into and they cannot provide you with what you need to finish your process. There is coverage to help pay for that, any loss of income that you have there. And this would be this next one, bricking, would be another example of you're updating your system and they put malware in there and wreck your system. Fraudulent social engineering, that's a big one. I actually, my old CFO, his name was Steve Miller, my name's Steve Winter, and I get emails all the time. Hey, Steve, this is Tom Dawson. Please send $10,000 into this fund. I should have called you on this, but I need it immediately. That's social engineering, just trying to recruit people to do something bad. Invoice manipulation, if they can hack into your system and you're emailing invoices out and that they can hack that invoice, put more charges on it, redirect those funds to themselves. Cryptojacking, that's something newer, I would think. Crypto miners, yeah, crypto mine hacks into the insured's computer system after hours using the insured system resources to mine for cryptocurrency and causing a huge spike in electricity. That's just crazy that people are able to do that stuff now. And this one guy I was talking to at my Rotary Club one time was talking about, and he's in the IT world. He goes, you'll have people hacking from over in Taiwan and wherever else that make no money, but in one hijacking, they can get $30,000. They can live the rest of their life comfortably. So it's worth the risk for them to try to hack into people's systems. And then that's scary because they're as you guys, most people know, these hackers can be sitting in your system for 2 months, maybe more, maybe less, based on what your system's set up to do. Just watching what you're doing, watching what your operations are. If you're doing a similar deposit every month to a certain person, they're going to try to figure out how to intercept that. And that's actually happened to a client of mine where he was paying, he had all his security in place correctly, and he was sending payments to another person who wasn't secure, and somebody came in and hacked 3 different payments over $40,000 each. My client's cyber insurance policy paid that. And now he now he writes checks to that guy because they did nothing to fix it. And then utility fraud, I don't know if this happens much anymore. It's basically like a cleanup duty. Your crew is calling their cousins over in Taiwan overnight and racking up bills. Did we have any questions on any of those coverages I talked about? All right, I'll continue on. Claims, trends, and best practices. So here's cyber attack statistics. 880,000 complaints registered with the FBI in 2023, with an estimated loss of $12.5 billion, a 22% increase over 2022. That's pretty amazing numbers if you ask me. Over 20,000 business email compromises incidents with 2.9 billion in losses. I mean, it's real numbers out there, and people, manufacturers especially, there's some of them are hesitant to buy the insurance and go through the processes to make sure they're better protected. So that's just a little bit of information there. And now here's a good one for the upper Midwest area where we're all at. This is distribution of claims by size of ransomware. So if you look at the big blue, dark blue, and the light blue, that's 11 to 100 employees and 101 to 1,000 employees. That's where the most activity is, which is scary because a lot of times, like from 11 to 100, it's a business owner that's the IT specialist, and he's winging it. That's why you're seeing an influx in more of the Western central technologies in the world, because the smaller organizations can't support and pay for their own IT department, so they have to go out and get resources. I mean, and from my understanding, more and more like the West Central Technologies, the people around here, they're actually making sure that you have cyber insurance before they work with you. I don't know if that's true with all people, but I know a lot of them are starting to go down that path, because what IT people like is that, cyber insurance pays for their forensics, cyber insurance pays for data restoration, and those are the most expensive things. And cyber insurance will also pay to defend you in the case of a lawsuit. So the West Centrals of the world, they're there to help support your system, help build up your security system. But if you actually, look, think of who gets hacked. CrowdStrike got hacked. North Dakota WSI Workforce Safety got hacked. I mean, big companies get hacked, and even if you have all the securities in the world, you're still going to get hacked. And if you don't have cyber insurance, you're paying all that restoration, everything out of pocket. Really quick, these are the most common cyber crimes that you see. Cyber extortion, we talked about. Social engineering, fraud, we talked about, and invoice manipulation. Those are the more common things that we see in the cyber world. Again, stop me if you want to. I'm kind of going through this because I know these get long sometimes. Infrastructure sectors impacted by ransomware in 2023. In 2023, they had there was over 3,000 incidents worth $785 million, and you can see by this one, you look towards the bottom, who gets hit the most: healthcare and manufacturing. That just shows how important it is to have coverage in place. Cyber claims by, and here's another data on cyber claims by industry from 2002 or 2023 and 24. Look at manufacturing, went from 15% to 41% of all cyber claims. I mean, that's huge. Again, it's hard to convince people that they need it. I have people, I beg them to buy a $300 endorsement under their policy, and they call me 2 weeks later and say, we got hacked. And I'm like, well, you might have some coverage in the small little policy. And I'm finally getting them to purchase a good, robust cyber policy this year, and it's going to cost them $7,000. But one or two hacks and you understand the importance of it and why wait that long. And then just another loss trends, you know, you see at ransomware still up there, but again, it sounds to me like talking to IT people that they're starting to get that under wraps and control it better. Email compromise number 2, transfer fraud number 3. I'm going to kind of skip through these two real quick. So payment requests and red flags, these are just tools to learn from. You like up your rush request, be aware if someone you get an email from your CFO or whatever, or your president saying, you know, we need money yesterday, question that. Give them a call, pick up the phone, ask them, did you make this decision? It's like, no, I didn't. Email communication, always be careful about that. You know, there's nothing wrong with making a phone call. If a manager or boss would ever get angry at you for confirming that you asked for a payment, there's some issues there. Grammar and spelling is very important. Making sure when you're getting emails, is it from MMA.com? Is it from DawsonINS.com? Or is it US Gmail or something like that? Or is it like MMA1.com? You know, make sure it's the right domain. That's the big one. That's one thing that they do a lot. So top security, cybersecurity controls. This is what all the insurance carriers are wanting you to implement into your system to provide you with a good program. And in today's world, the coalitions of the world, the FAs of the world, they can actually just go into your website and go into your VPN right there and see what kind of issues you have. They can see if there's open corrupt ports in your system already, and they can tell if you have multi-factor authentication. So it's pretty amazing what they can do just by going into your system. So multi-factor authentication, pretty much all strong insurance carriers for cyber require that. And multi-factor authentication, I'm sure everybody knows, it's like getting into your bank. They're going to send you a text with a code, and then you're going to have to go in. And it's not that big a deal, and it's not really that expensive to use to implement. Endpoint detection and response, security encrypted and tested backups. That's important. All these are privileged access management, email filtering, and web security. These are all things that the carriers are making you implement into your system to make sure that you're properly protected so they can provide you with coverage. Any questions on any of those? All right. Quiet group. So something we try to help our clients with is cyber incident management and cyber claims advocacy. You know, when we're going through the renewal process with you, we're going to make sure that the carrier, I actually have my carriers, before they even quote a policy, go onto their VPN and say, give me a report based on what they have currently and what they need to fix to even buy coverage from you. And it's been very beneficial because they give you a really detailed 20-page report, and they usually give you a score, A, B, C, D, or 720 out of 1,000 or whatever. But it's a nice format that I like to use. Make sure you provide we provide advice to whether or not you should be. I mean, if you get hacked, you should have a system in place of what's step number one. Who do I call? And it should be your carrier. Second call should be to me, and we talk through what's going on. But you should have these processes in place already. And then in the event of the claim, again, what are you going to do? What's number one? We like to be able to evaluate your coverages. I mean, we have guys in Minneapolis that will take comparisons if you have a current policy and are looking at, we'll give you a comparison of 4 different companies. We actually have a simplified format now where you fill out one application, one MMA application, and it kicks out to 5 different carriers, and within 15 minutes you get 5 quotes in comparison. So it's pretty nice. Coverage and negotiation advocacy. I mean, again, sometimes claims get bogged down and the process isn't as fast as you want it to do. And our claims teams from our Minneapolis office are not scared to get on the phone with an adjuster and help push the cause. Okay, cyber claim advocacy. This is basically very similar to what I just kind of talked about. So of that, I mean, are there any questions at this time? I got a couple more slides if we have time. I got a couple more slides I want to just go through that are pretty interesting information. Any questions? Comments? Okay. Which one is it? It's third-party cyber risk. Cyber risk associated with third-party technology growing threat. How does this impact your organization? 60% of organizations work with more than 1,000 third parties. So when you think of a third-party claim, 60% of them have 1,000 third-party people that they're working with, and who knows what kind of system or security they even have in place. 71% of organizations report that third-party their network contains more vendors than it did 3 years ago. 73% of organizations have experienced significant disruption caused by a third party, whether it be a data breach or ethical violation. And I think the bigger one there is like my example of my client that got hacked into or lost money by sending money to somebody else who wasn't properly protected. So I thought that's good information. And yeah, here's a good one too. Ransomware and cyber extortion landscape. 17% of increase in Q4 23 of Marsh U.S. clients that experienced an extortion event. Largest ransom demand, $175 million. Largest ransom payment, $35 million. You know, most active ransom group these are the black markets out there, and they're popping up all the time. I'm sure, John, you guys are dealing with new ones all the time. I mean, these guys, I mean, they're not just in one computer at a time. They're in systems across hundreds of them. So, and they're just, you know, they're programmed. They're just running to see if they can catch something. So I thought that was pretty good information there. So with that, are there any other questions, comments? Okay, that's all I have at this point.
All right.
I appreciate everybody's time.
Yeah, that was wonderful but scary information.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Wow. You try to be diligent and do the right thing, but it still can happen to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we have our cyber resiliency team that is willing to talk to anybody and work with anybody, put a lot of time and effort into it. I think we're on the forefront of it with our brokerage. I mean, you know, Marsh McLellan Agency, I don't know if anyone knows, but we're the largest insurance broker in the world. So our biggest thing is to create the resources to make the agencies able to protect their clients. And cyber is bigger than people think it is. Even you see it all the time on the news, see it on TVs, and people still are hesitant to buy it, and I don't understand why.
Yeah. Wow. All right, everybody. Well, we will cut you loose for lunch here, but I just wanted to let you know we are recording this, and I will send the recording to everyone. And we do really appreciate your time. And thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Oh, we do have a question. Oh, sorry, Steve, do you have a second? John is saying that he'd be happy to address any technical questions as they may be related to your presentation.
Yep.
He didn't want to hijack it any means, so just to let you know.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.